Well, hello, and thank you for coming today to this live. I am so excited about having Barbara here today. She is just a doll. I love her. And she's going to share with us a lot about how to use your personality to work your business and also to help you work with your customers. Is that right, Barbara?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So this is going to be very helpful. I'm so glad that you're here. If you'd like to, you can go ahead and put your um, that comments in the comments, and we'll pick up on what you're saying. But you need to give StreamYard permission to let us know your name. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. And Barbara, tell me about this.
Okay, well, first of all, Luann, thank you so much for your graciousness and for inviting me here today. This is just, I love talking about personality. And, those are my two loves. I'm a personality science trainer, and I'm also a wellness brand partner. So they just kind of go hand in hand. But personality impacts everything. It also, because, and why I'm in wellness too, is because it impacts your wellness. How you feel about yourself is your mental wellness. And for myself, I'll share just a quick of my story. I lost my husband 10 years ago. And when I woke up from my widow's fog, it was like, okay, Barbara, who are you and what do you want to do? Outside of all the labels that I had put on myself, of being a daughter and then a wife and then a mother and then being divorced, so a failure, and then being, success again, because then I was married again, and then a grandmother, and now I'm a widow. Where was I in all of that? And I had no idea how to find out, and it was scary.
Oh, yeah.
But I was willing to just say, hey, I can't do this. I have to find out, and I couldn't do it on my own. So I got a coach, and that's what kind of led me on my journey. And part of the journey was taking a class on learning about personality. And this free personality assessment that I'm going to give to your audience, it was one of the turning points, because it gave me insights into all the things that I did well, gave me insights into things that I was not. Mm-hmm. And now it has really made me realize that, quit beating yourself up for the things that you're not. Mm-hmm. Let's celebrate the things that you are. Yeah. And so when I was able to do that, there are things that I'm working on in the things that I'm not good at. Absolutely, because it's a learning process. But when you have that insight, you quit beating yourself up for it.
Yeah. And comparing yourself to others too.
And comparing yourself to others. Yeah. Because we all do that. And I still do that, but I'm learning so much that I don't compare that. I try very hard not to compare myself to somebody else, just because it's like, hey, well, that's not my personality style. Oh, right. Okay, great. Perfect. Yeah. But personality science, so many people think it's such a new thing. It's not. It's been around for 2,500 years. Yeah. And it was not invented, but isolated by Hippocrates, the Hippocratic Oath. But he called them the 4 temperaments. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I share with people is that there are, 7 billion plus people on the planet. There's over 3,500 languages, mm-hmm. but there's basically only 4 personality styles. Mm-hmm. And depending on what thing you're using, I've done so many of them. And most mm-hmm. people in business have done some type of personality assessment. Oh, they do DISC, or they do MBTI, they do color wheel. I've done the animals, the elements.
There's so many.
And they all bring up one little part. So they're all valuable. Mm-hmm. However, for myself, when I was introduced, can I talk today? When I was introduced to the bank methodology, which is based on what people value. Mm-hmm. Oh, that was something new for me. So that's where that came in. So what I'm going to do is just share a couple of things about each one of them. And the word bank is an acronym, mm-hmm. and each letter stands for a personality type. Okay. So there's 4 basics. So we have time. We'll do that.
Okay. We do.
Okay. So the B stands for the blueprints. And the blueprints, they're the traditional kind of people. They like the systems. They like to have a process in place. They're the ones that they keep track. They take wonderful notes. They are just very structured, those kinds of things. They love titles. They want to know about you in your academics, those kinds of things. They love budgets, but they don't like people who are late. For a blueprint, if you are late, that means you're not trustworthy because they are risk averse. And some of the things that you can notice about blueprints, and we kind of know it offhand, but they're very conservative in their dress. They are suit and tie. Women very, very straight, low flat shoes. They drive an economical car, that kind of things. And one of the things that I always love is that they're the ones that are kind of in the box. We call them that they're kind of in the box. They don't stray out of their box. They tend to be accountants and those kinds of things. Well, then, of course, you get the A people. They're the action people. Yep. They kind of go, what box? I'm not going to be in a box. You're not going to put me in a box. They're the free-spirited. They're very out there. They tend to be athletes because they're very competitive. Those kinds of things. They love bling. You see, this is part of my personality, because we're part of we have a little bit of each one of the personalities in us. So you'll notice little things, but we all have a dominant one. So part of my A personality is my blingy tops and my bright glasses and my red lipstick. That's part, and I used to always, because I was brought up in a blueprint family. And I was always kind of put down for the fact that I liked these bright colors. And it was like, now I celebrate them.
Very good.
I celebrate them because now I know that's part of my personality. So that was good. Anyways, so then the next one is the N, stands for nurturers. They're the ones that are part of community. They do charity work. They love flowers. They're very soft. They want to impact the world. They want to be part of a group. They want to be part of a community. Those kinds of things. But then you get the K people, and they are the researchers. They're the data. They want the data. They want to know everything about it. So what happens in business is that you say you're talking to somebody in business and they're a blueprint and they want to know about the stability of your company or the stability of your offer, and you're an action person and you're telling them all about the sizzle of how much recognition they're going to get, and yet the blueprints are like, yeah. That's not going to happen. So I'll tell you a quick story that illustrates this. My late husband and I, we were planning our first trip. We were going to go out, leave Chicago, go to LA, drive across the desert because he was a very visual person, and to see the lights of Las Vegas. Well, I came home one day and he was sitting on the living room floor surrounded by maps and atlases. I said, David, what are you doing? He said, well, I'm planning our trip. I looked at him and I said, David, what trip? He said, what do you mean, what trip? Got a little heated. What do you mean, what trip? The trip we're going on, we're going to go fly out to LA and we're going to drive across the desert so I can see the lights of Las Vegas. And I said, yes, dear, I understand that trip, but that trip is in November. This is August. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Luann, he looked up at me in total shock and said, well, when are you going to figure out how we're going to drive from LA to Las Vegas? I said, David, when I get in the rental car in LA.
Yep.
And everybody laughs when I tell that story because they can relate to it. And the situation might be different, but they can relate to it because you're just two completely different personality styles. And we came to the point that we laughed about that all the time. Whenever we were planning anything, remember the first time? Yeah. And it was funny. So, but now when you have that funniness, great. We laughed about it, but
Right.
but what happens if that is in a business relationship?
Yeah.
What if that is happening in your, like the person lying beside you in bed at night?
Ooh. Mhm.
All of those things make an impact.
Mhm.
And so it's just so important to just to be able to recognize the different
Mhm.
personalities,
Mhm.
and just little things that you can do to recognize them, like the blueprints. When you shake their hand, they tend to give you a very, very firm, formal type of handshake. The action people, they tend to be the high fives. The nurturers, we automatically want to hug.
Ah, that's me.
Yeah, that's why you and I get along so
Yeah.
well, because we've got that in common.
Mhm.
The data people, the K people, the knowledge people, they don't like to be touched by anybody that they don't know.
Mhm.
So your chances are better to hand them a business card,
Ooh, okay.
because so that you're just, but when you can go into a presentation knowing that ahead of time, it just makes your job so much easier and your life so much easier. And
Mm,
like for me, it really changed my relationship with my son, because my son is a total blueprint.
okay.
And so now when we go out, I start setting it up 2 weeks beforehand,
Okay.
because I was one of those that I would call him up on Saturday morning and say, let's do breakfast in half an hour. And
Yeah.
he would be like, no.
No.
or or he would be upset, but mom, I've got plans for the day. And then he would change it so that I would come away that he didn't want to spend time with me and that I was a burden to him, and da 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 da. Well, now, oh yike, we spend hours and hours and hours together, because he's a planner and
Yeah.
I become his plan.
Ah.
Spending time with mom is his plan for the day. What we do within that plan is cool. So that's with my spontaneity. I can't talk today. Spontaneousness, and to do some fun things that we both enjoy doing. But now he's planned that time together.
So it feels better for him
So
too.
it's good for him. It's good for me. And it has brought us so much closer.
Oh,
And
that's
so,
right.
yeah, and it's a fun thing. Plus, it's fun. I like sitting in the airport
Trying to decide if that person's a B
watching
or A.
watching people. Well, the people watching is absolutely fun.
Oh, I love that too. In the
Yeah,
park, I'll just sit on the bench and watch them go by. It's like,
watch them
oh
go by.
yeah, definitely a B there.
And you can kind of tell, you see the fashion models going by that are just absolutely, and then you get some of the action people that
Mhm.
one of them, I mean, they were totally, they came walking through the airport and he was in a bathrobe and slippers because he wanted attention. He was getting attention.
He was definitely getting attention.
Bathrobe. Yeah, it was the
Doesn't
funniest
matter
thing.
what kind.
It was like, yeah, not a kind of attention, but you know what? Attention is attention for some people. And
Yeah.
so that's when you can know that a little bit. It just helps your relation. It helps every relationship, whether it's business or personal. So
Wow.
it's fun. You know.
That sounds so good, and just think of how we can use that information when
Mhm.
we're getting together with, like, clients, so we know how to, interact with
Yeah.
them in a better way from the beginning.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I had do is that, like, I have people that just say, hey, you know what, they use that person out. Hey, how I do it is, do you want to do something fun before we talk?
I like that.
Do you want to do something fun before we talk? And then we talk about the differences. So,
Okay.
like, say you have coworkers that you're working with,
Mhm.
or you have a group of coaches that you're working with. Okay, everybody do the assessment. Okay, now let's just only look at the first. Only look at the very first. Oh, that's why you do that. That's why we get along. Oh, that's why I don't. That's why we have problems. And not that they're problems, but they're just differences, because
Right.
everybody thinks differently. So, and then I have them go through all the four of them, and it's like, oh, it's eye opening.
Yeah, it really is. It's just
Fun.
so helpful to
And it's
know
fun.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I really appreciate you coming and talking to me. This is
oh,
wonderful, and what
yeah,
great information for people to know this.
yeah. And
So
that there's a way for them to find it out. It's
okay.
just because there are so many. I mean, there's over 200 assessments out there. So, just for me, it was just one more that I was going to do in a long list of thousands that I had already done. But this one just struck my fancy. That's like, oh, that's how I can recognize them.
Mhm.
It gave me insight into, and the biggest thing was the insight into myself. And sometimes I still tear up about it because I was so down on myself.
Mhm.
What's
Mhm.
wrong with you that you're not like so and so?
Right, right, and we
What's
compare
That's
ourselves almost
always the
always
question
one
we
another.
ask ourselves. What's wrong with us?
Yeah, yeah,
There's nothing wrong with us.
right,
We are just slightly different. And
right.
when we can realize the little differences, oh, right.
Mhm. Yeah, and we're totally, you know, we have our own thing, that's good.
Do we have time for one more little quick story?
Sure, sure. Mhm.
I was doing a presentation for a seniors group. Okay, I'm a senior at a seniors group. Just did what you just said. Just what I went through. Just little bits about each personality and how to recognize them. Well, so then afterwards, it was like, okay, there was probably maybe 50 or 60 people in the room. And I said, so how many of you were blueprints? And their hands were like about here because they don't like to draw. They want to answer because you have to follow the rules when you're a blueprint. So they had to answer the question, but they didn't want to draw attention to themselves.
Oh.
So their hands came to about here. And as I scanned the room, it's like, oh, yeah, they're the blueprints. The action people, yeah, me, because they want the attention. So yeah, pick me, those kinds of things. The nurturers automatically did kind of this.
Oh.
It's kind of like that hunch over that you're going to hug somebody when you're not with them. The knowledge, there was one gal in the second row, and the knowledge people are so smart. They have so much knowledge in them because they just are researchers.
Mhm.
The more data that they can put in, the happier they are. However, once in a while, that smartness and knowing so much comes out has arrogance.
Ooh,
Once
mhm.
in a while, because they know so much, and once in a while, and that's where it rubs against other people.
Okay.
And she sat there and went,
Yeah.
oh yeah. I went, oh yeah, definitely.
Definitely, definitely
and,
recognize that.
and right. And it was like, okay, yeah. And
That's fun.
yeah, it was just fun to do and just to see what the reactions were. So
Oh,
those are little things. If you're in a group,
that's a nice
see
get
how
to
they
know
raise
each
their
other
hand.
thing. Yeah. Icebreaker.
It's an icebreaker.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a great party game
Mhm,
for
I
a
think I
family,
would.
or an
Ooh,
adult party,
or family reunion.
family reunion.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. And it brings up all the things of, oh, that's why you bother me. I mean, because family will do that.
Yeah.
Co-workers will say, oh, that might be why there's a little bit of tension between us.
I'll see it there.
That's why you just make me mad.
That's why you irritate me so much.
That's why you irritate me. Exactly. And then, so it's just fun, especially
That's
with
so fun.
kids. Kids love it. And
Yeah, I'm sure.
you can do kids. We do have a version for kids.
Oh, there is a version for kids.
For kids. Oh yeah, they're pictures. They're picture cards.
Oh,
They're little picture things. Yeah.
oh, that's so much fun.
It's fun. So
So you
anyway,
guys are gonna be able to do that because we're gonna put that below and in the comments so that you get an opportunity to see where you are. And I
yeah,
would love to hear what you are in the comments later on, once you take the test.
yeah.
Come on back and tell us what you are. I'd love to
And
hear.
can I verbally say it too?
Sure.
It's https // bit.ly /being me too, the number 2, being with a capital B, the me with a capital M, and 2, being me too,
Oh,
because
yeah.
you are important. You are the person that and live your life that you are important.
Oh, cool.
So
That's a good one. I love that.
yeah.
So thank you so much for being here. And I
Oh,
hope
this
you
was
guys all
amazing.
enjoyed her like I do.
Yes, and we're gonna do some more. I think it would be cool to do some more stuff. Look forward to doing some stuff.
That's right. So look for us. We're going to come back.
Yeah, and
All right.
bring Carol.
Yeah, we have to add Carol in. We got plenty of
Bring,
room here. All right.
so
Thank you. Okay. Thanks everyone for being here today. I really appreciate it. I hope you learned some good nuggets today.
thank
And
you
just
for
really,
having me.
yeah, you're welcome. So everyone have a wonderful day. Remember, I believe in you. I know you can do whatever you set your mind to, and you just go for it. Okay. And you are enough just as you are. You
Yes.
are enough just as you are. Look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself, I am enough just as I am. All right. You have a wonderful weekend. See you,
Okay.
everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.